Welcome to 13 Degrees of Screams,
where we scream so you don't scream.
We're your host, Alex.
And Stephanie.
And this week, we find out our sister's a cuckoo human hybrid in Cuckoo.
Before we get started, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell to be notified when we post new episodes.
Cuckoo is a 2024 horror film written and directed by Tillman Singer and stars Hunter Schafer. A co-production between Germany and the United States, the film follows a teenager who moves to the German Alps to live with her father, but becomes disturbed by strange occurrences as her father's boss embroils her family in a sinister plot. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 78% with a critical consensus that states, directed with inventive flair by Tillman Singer, while giving flavorful personality by stars Hunter Schafer and Dan Stevens, Cuckoo is a madcap madhouse horror that's on the right side of deranged. It also has a 60% audience score. So, Stephanie.
Alex?
Had you seen Cuckoo before we watched it for the podcast?
I had not.
Thoughts?
Did you?
Oh, no. No, I did not. But okay. I wanted to. We saw the trailer for this when we saw, I want to say, The First Omen.
Okay. I will admit, once I saw the setting, I was like, oh, I remember seeing the trailer for it, but I never connected that this was for the movie Cuckoo.
What'd you think it was?
I don't know. I just remember seeing the poster of the girl with the bandaged head, and I didn't really have any previous knowledge, I thought, about the movie.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Or maybe, I don't know. I saw the trailer in theaters at some point in my life.
No, we definitely saw it together.
Oh, did we? Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Because I was like, oh, like a hotel thing. I was like, it's giving The Shining.
It's giving The Shining.
Yeah.
It's giving Jack Torrance. I wanted to see it. It looked interesting, but just never saw it. And then you put it on the list, and I'm like, oh, cool. Let's watch Cuckoo.
Yeah.
And what did you think?
Definitely not what I expected, but interesting. I have a lot of questions.
That's fair. Did you like it?
I feel like it's too deep to say to like. It's too weird of a concept almost. It feels like to be like, yeah, I just enjoy this. I pop this on to have a good time.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't know. What about you?
I found it kind of forgettable, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't dislike it, but I also didn't love it. I don't know. I didn't think about it after I watched it. I was like, all right. So it wasn't bad. I can't say it was a bad movie, but it also just wasn't great.
Yeah, I understand that. My biggest complaint, and Charlie and our friend Matt watched with us, and we kind of all agreed that it was I don't know what Gretchen's doing this whole time, because she doesn't have a dog in this race, or she doesn't seem to, at least even from the very beginning. She should have just left.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the money issue of it all. She was trying to get the money to go. Mm-hmm. And then, well, we'll talk about it in the plot, I guess, because I could see how she got kind of folded in there. Initially, no, but she did kind of get inadvertently wrapped up in it.
Yeah, right.
Initially she doesn't really. She's just kind of collateral damage at that point. She's just victim of circumstance and where she's at. And then at that point, you're like, well, now what?
Yeah, cut your losses, I guess. But no, she stays, I guess. Well, not for lack of trying.
Right, exactly. I will say I did get some of it spoiled for me because I was listening to a podcast that covered Cuckoo. So I wasn't too shocked by what was happening.
Oh, okay. I didn't know anything going in aside from recognizing I had seen the trailer, but I wasn't expecting anything to do with the cuckoo and the the actual
Stephanie,
cuckoo bear.
I know what you mean, but you're I didn't expect anything with a cuckoo, and then this movie's called Cuckoo.
Well, no, I did, with the bird.
I know. It was just funny the way that came out. It's I didn't expect it. I didn't see it happening.
Then the title was revealed to me, and I was like, oh, it makes sense. At the very end, I understood there was a cuckoo.
I did not see any of it coming outside. If I had not listened to the podcast, let me put it that way. When I saw the trailer, I did not expect any of that. I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't that. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, mating rituals and stuff were not what I expected when you see a poster of a girl with her head bandaged. I was like, oh, it's going to be is she crazy or is she not kind of situation. And
which they do kind of touch upon a little bit.
They do, but it's more this is weird mating rituals and stuff happening, then
oh yeah, I just mean when she's like in the I just meant like when she's in the hospital and she's like, no one believes me.
Yeah,
it's like,
right.
Of course not, honey. You're in a horror movie and you're the main character. Of course they don't.
I kind of expected that. She's like the daughter from another marriage that failed, so she's like the throwaway kid, it seems, to this family.
And the whole stepmother doesn't care about their stepchild trope.
Yeah.
In full force in this movie.
Are you ready to get into the plot?
I am.
After losing her mother, teenager Gretchen, still mourning, relocates to a resort town in the Bavarian Alps with her father Louis, stepmother Beth, and mute half-sister Alma. They're there to help construct a new hotel managed by the mysterious Herr König, who offers Gretchen a front desk job as there is little else to do in the area for teenagers. Shortly after their arrival, bizarre occurrences unfold. Gretchen witnesses several female guests vomiting while at work. Alma experiences seizures caused by a peculiar echoing scream. And Gretchen has a frightening encounter with a hooded woman while biking home one night, though the police dismiss it as a prank.
Yeah, that happens.
Well, I was really put off by the hotel owner, König, pretty early on. Like, he introduces her to a doctor that's at a hospital nearby, and he like puts his arm on her shoulder and then like gravitates the hand like across her shoulder to the other, and I was like,
creepy vibes.
Yeah.
I will say, yeah, definitely. I just everyone in this movie I got weird vibes from. Like, everyone. There's not a single character that I was like,
trustworthy.
Yeah, like even the doctor. I mean, she was saying some weird stuff like, oh, I wasn't expecting you or something like that. And it's like, what does that mean? Yeah,
well, even with their interaction, like she goes to shake her hand and she's like, well, I can't, my hands are full. And she's like, yeah, mine too. And she's like, no, you just offered your hand.
Right. What are you talking about?
Everyone's weird. Just odd.
Do you get why she said that? Or was she just like, why? Why did she say that? No idea.
I maybe just like trying to play along as normal, but then, you know, she's kind of like called out on it. Like, no, I can't shake your hand. I'm holding stuff. Like,
yeah. I will say the scene where she was biking home, because she's told not to bike home at night. He's like, I'll come get you. Don't do anything. And then she gets chased by this woman. It was in the trailer, but so I kind of expected that was going to happen. But I thought that was a pretty creepy scene.
Oh, yeah. Like, because you're watching her from her perspective as she's riding in and out of light. So you see the shadow of her and her bike. And then you kind of get a glimpse of something behind her. And then you finally see like an outstretched hand. And it's this woman like right behind her. Like,
she's booking it. And then earlier in that scene, you see her running. And she's like 20 miles an hour at least. Like, she's not normal human.
Not a dainty jog or anything.
No, she was like, I will get you.
Sonic fast.
Scenic fast. Yeah, very fast. And so that scene was actually kind of creepy.
Yes. I think it's just weird how she just kind of roams the hotel so openly. And when they are, I don't know, trying to reunite her with her offspring, we haven't really gotten to that part of the story yet. But just felt like there would be a little bit more confinement.
You think, well,
for this kind of creature, but I don't know if she's supposed to just infect everybody that's there.
Well, I think, again, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I'll just mention it now in case I forget. He mentions the guy here, König, is like a preservationist.
Yes.
Preservationist. So I think he doesn't want to like take her out of her habitat, and what happens kind of a thing, you know? Okay. It's like if he takes her and cages her, like,
then it's not the same.
That defeats the purpose, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. But I also don't blame Gretchen for not wanting to have him drive her home. Like, I wouldn't want to be within 6 feet of this man. Like,
no, 100%. It's like one of those things like, tell me why I cannot bike home or I'm going to bike home. Like, because I'm not going to do this with you. I don't trust you. I don't know you.
You're weird.
Creepy. You touched me weird. We're good.
Honestly, like, I was surprised she took the job, but I understood that she needed money to leave. So that was also why she was like, yeah, do it.
Yeah, she immediately was like, I'll do it. Yep, sign me up, coach. Put me in.
By the way, this incident with the hooded woman, she ends up barreling into the hospital because this woman is only like a foot behind her on her bike, it seems, really close. So she speeds up and goes into the hospital and tries to get in and bashes her head against the glass. Once they let her in, there was like a locked door and then another glass door behind it. And that hurt.
Her cut, you see it. It's deep. It's not
they stapled it, and I was like, that doesn't feel right. Like,
oh yeah, staples, that's pretty common.
Well, I know that they do staples, but it felt like so much still was open that I was like, it doesn't seem like the staples are doing it.
Yeah, no,
it doesn't
not at
seem
all.
like good form of stitches here.
No.
So she's got this head wound, and her parents don't believe her because this is like when her father and her stepmother don't believe her or really care about what happened because the younger child, Alma, is having a seizure that night as well. So they're just like, oh, she fell. Like, Alma's our baby girl and she's having issues. Let's go.
A little baby.
The next day, Gretchen meets Henry, a detective investigating a murder linked to the hooded woman, and takes interest in a guest named Ed. They plan to escape together, but their attempt fails when they hear the unsettling scream, almost hitting the hooded woman, and crash their car, leaving Gretchen badly injured and stuck at the resort while Ed recovers in the hospital. I didn't even know Ed made it, because we don't see Ed until the very end.
I thought Ed bit it, for sure.
And then watching Smile 2 so recently, when I saw them like plunge off the road into the trees, I was like, dead. Both dead.
Immediately dead. Both of them dead. Also, I didn't trust Ed either.
Yeah, she gave weird vibes too. But I was like, does she even have an interest in her, or is she just seeing it as like an only means to get out? Like,
I have no idea what her motivation is because we know nothing about her at all, except she gave me weird vibes.
Well, I even thought, like, does Gretchen even like Ed? Or is it just like she saw it as an opening, you know, that if she flirts with this woman, maybe she'll take her somewhere?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know why. It's just very weird. All of a sudden they're like together and they're like, let's run off together.
Henry reveals to Gretchen that he suspects the hooded woman of a murder where the victim choked on her vomit, and they suspect a connection to the vomiting women Gretchen observed at the hotel. Together they surveil one of the resort's cottages where the hooded woman attacks Gretchen's coworker, Beatrice, trying to implant her with a strange slime. And that was odd to me, like the brushing of the legs.
Yeah.
It was such a weird thing. It must be like a mating dance kind of thing, or just like a...
Yeah, I don't...
Preparing? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, so like Beatrice is on the bed and you see her like rubbing her leg back and forth. And then all of a sudden, lady brings out slime and is about to put her little handy in there. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? What are we doing?
Yeah, I guess like her screeching like forces this to happen. But then what I don't understand is how is she able to achieve her end goal if the woman vomits and dies?
That's a good question. I don't...
Because if the man is like chased off by like the screeching or in like this weird time loop, because we see people kind of, whenever they hear the sound, they kind of end up repeating the last few seconds of their day or whatever they were doing in like a loop. So I'm like, how does that get them to their goal? Like, if she throws up, like she can't... If she dies, she's no longer in use.
Right. I mean, I guess the throwing up's just a side effect. Like, you can't help it. So, like, if she dies, she dies. Kind of, like, that sounded really bad. That's not what I meant. But, like, if she dies, or she throws up and dies, like, that was just, there's nothing you could do about that.
Yeah.
So, like, the best you could do is make sure she doesn't. Because he mentions, turn her on her side so she doesn't choke. So, like, they're aware that throwing up is just, like, a side effect of this happening. So it's like, well, can't do anything about that kind of a thing.
Yeah, I guess.
So,
and I don't know if it's just that we never saw one like fully take effect, because every time she tries to give somebody the slime, every time she tries to slime them.
Don't. He's going around and sliming them. That's what we're going to call it. They're getting slimed.
Yeah. The men in the woman's life are just kind of either chased off or in a weird way, or I don't know, maybe under the ideal circumstances, like the man would just come back immediately as soon as the woman left and the hooded woman left, and they would proceed as normal. Because
like after that happens, I'm like, I'm leaving, like goodbye. Yeah. Like, or I'm calling the cops or something. Like, we're not going to continue on doing what we're doing unless this cry like hypnotizes them to where they don't realize it happened. Maybe that's
I
what
think so.
the
I
whole...
don't think they remember. I don't think they remember how that happens.
Maybe that's what the whole time thing is. So like
Yeah.
she'll do the thing, she'll because they're not like actually going back in time, really.
Right.
They're just like, because you could kind of see they're realizing things are repeating. So if she like slimes them, goes back a couple seconds, they wouldn't know that happened, and then they would
and they feel like they're having a weird deja vu or something, and then they just go about their... But I feel like even with the most like non-believer kind of people, you know, if a woman just got sick, like, are you really gonna bang right after that? Like,
yeah, some people might be into that.
I guess.
Lovely, love that.
Okay. The following day, Gretchen confronts Lewis and Koenig, criticizing their involvement with the resort. During their argument, Koenig accidentally exposes a package with items belonging to Gretchen's mother, leading Lewis to admit he sold their family home. Furious, Gretchen retreats to her room and listens to her mother's old voicemails. Among them, she finds a message from Alma in text-to-speech, pleading with her deceased mother to reach out to Gretchen to make her happy. So I'm guessing Alma is just like really sheltered, and they never even bothered to tell her that Gretchen's mom was really dead.
Yeah, this whole time she's like, oh, is your mom gonna come visit us? Like, she's welcome to come. I'm like, well, about that, Alma, unfortunately, that cannot happen.
Yeah, Alma seems like a sweet kid. Like, it's not like a typical annoying younger sibling kind of situation. I think Gretchen more or less resents... Like, she doesn't like Alma, but she doesn't hate her either. And she more or less just hates the parents for the creation of Alma.
Right. It's
or being there, really. Like,
she doesn't hate Alma. She hates the fact that Alma exists.
Yes.
It's kind of like the situation. Because... You know, when they interact, they don't seem to, like, hate each other.
No.
Alma definitely doesn't hate Gretchen. Like, she's really sweet, actually.
Yeah, no. They seem, like, amicable towards each other. Yeah.
At the least, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Also, yeah, this is a thing that Gretchen's doing throughout the whole film. She'll just, like, call her mom's voicemail to hear her voice and try to tell her about her plans to escape and everything. And I was like, that's sad.
It really is. And it's like... I don't know. I don't want to say it's unhealthy to do so because it helps her cope. But like at some point,
you gotta stop.
Like, where do you cut that off at? You know,
right?
Because then she's not here. You're not actually listening to her alive. You're just hearing a recording. So
yeah, like, I had a friend's mom that was doing that with his grandfather, and after he passed, and
oh really?
Yeah, they had to have a sit down talk about like it's been a year. Are we still doing this?
Oh wow, yeah. See, I can only imagine how hard that would be to kind of stop that.
I mean, I would probably do it as well, honestly.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Just some future unhealthy habits for me.
Yeah. Line them up. Let's go.
Gretchen exits her room to discover her family missing. Koenig tells her that Alma had another seizure and was taken to the hospital. He offers to take Gretchen to the train station so she can leave, but suggests stopping at his house first for money. There, Koenig reveals the truth. Henry is a disgraced cop, and the hooded woman is part of a near-human species that uses brood parasitism like cuckoo birds. These creatures disorient humans with their screams to facilitate the growth of their young, who are implanted in human hosts like Alma until they mature. Koenig has been experimenting to preserve this species at the resort, where Beth and Lewis unknowingly stayed during their honeymoon. Koenig traps Gretchen in a pool house and uses a flute to summon a teenage member of the species, which attempts to inseminate her with slime. Henry arrives just in time, shooting Koenig and killing the creature.
A lot to unpack here.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, huge red flag when Koenig is like, write like a little farewell letter to them. And of course, Gretchen's like, I'm leaving. Don't look for me. I was like, wonderful. You just
signed your own death wish. Like,
right.
You're like, I'm leaving. I'm going to another country. She didn't say that, but like, no, you're not. You're
Might as well have wrote, definitely not kidnapped. Like,
yeah, definitely not being impregnated by a cuckoo human bird thing.
Yeah. And was that the goal of him keeping her there, to have her impregnated as well and just to keep her hostage until she had?
So I don't know, but I feel like, okay, so at some point when she's in the hospital, he says that she'll be back. And I feel like when she was chasing her, she kind of like targeted her and it's like, I want to impregnate her. So I, you know what I'm saying? Like when but But then the teenager is the one that's trying to...
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe because she's like there for the taking. I don't know. It's very weird because all of a sudden he's like, first he doesn't want her to leave at night. And now he's like, yeah, now we're going to use you. Now you're fully
invested in this because you're kind of in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wasn't sure if he was just like showing her what could happen. And he was like stepping in and being like, by the way, I didn't let this happen to you. You should be so grateful kind of thing. And I don't know what was the follow through. Like, was he just going to keep her there until she died? Was he going to have her get impregnated, kill her? I don't know.
Well, he couldn't let her leave anymore. So she was definitely going to be there for the rest of her life, I would assume. Mm-hmm. Because like once you see that, there's no going back, man.
Right.
Like you have to deal with this.
It was just so weird too. Like his only explanation for like keeping these creatures, well, not keeping, but you know what I mean, like helping them breed and keep going and stuff like that. He's just like, I'm a preservationist, so they just need to keep going. I'm like, do they? Like,
yeah.
Why are we interjecting in this? Like,
yeah. Why are these the things we're trying to preserve here? Like,
yeah.
Let's not do that.
I'm sure there's like bald eagles or something you can look into. Yeah.
They're like flying around looking down like, bro, we need help. What are you doing with this?
Right.
What's going on?
Instead, you help the weirdest creature.
Yeah. And then this whole thing with Henry, like you don't trust. I feel like I didn't trust Henry at first. Mm-hmm. Then I was kind of on his side. And then all of a sudden he flips back to like being really weird again.
Yeah. I was sort of on his side like the whole time until like the very end when it was like, oh, I'll kill Alma kind of thing.
Right.
I know we're jumping ahead at this point, but
that's okay.
Otherwise, like I felt like, you know, he's super reasonable, but then Gretchen kind of flops on him at one point and is like, no, you're wrong. And it's before I felt like he was going to try to hurt her sister.
It's again, the motivations at the end make sense, but in the moment, I'm like, wait, why are you all of a sudden mad at him?
Yeah, he's on your side.
He didn't try to do anything yet.
Right.
But we'll get there when we get there.
Henry and Gretchen rush to the hospital where Koenig had planned to reunite Alma with her real mother, the hooded woman. Realizing Henry intends to kill both the adult Cuckoo and Alma, Gretchen stabs him with a butterfly knife to save her sister. She finds Alma and keeps the mother at bay by pretending to threaten Alma, but Alma believes Gretchen intends to harm her and runs away. Chased by the mother, Gretchen uses headphones to block the mother's scream and when cornered, fatally stabs her in the throat.
Boom, she did. But this sucks because, like, Alma sees at one point that Gretchen...
Like, she was holding a knife to her.
Right. Yeah. And then she pushes her down. I'm like, oh, good luck trying to explain that.
Right.
Like, now Alma's pissed at you. Henry doesn't like you. Here, Koenig's after you. And so is Cuckoo Lady. All on different sides of the battle here.
And this is why I'm saying, like, you don't got a dog in this race. Like, you could just walk out of the hospital and catch a cab, honestly, at this point. Like, it'd just be like, that's not my business.
She's a little too late now, but before, yeah.
Right. Gretchen reunites with Alma, regaining her sister's trust by thanking her for reaching out to her mother. They encounter a still-alive Koenig and a wounded Henry in a standoff. As both men threaten them with guns, Alma covers Gretchen's ears and emits a powerful shriek, disorienting the men long enough for the sisters to escape. We hear the gunshots of Henry and Koenig shooting each other fatally. Outside, they meet a recovering Ed, and the trio flees the resort and drives to safety. Like you said, I didn't know you were still here.
I know. Thanks, girl. Peace. Yeah, I did find it interesting that so the way they escape, the two men are on two sides of the room, both having guns to each other, right?
Yeah.
So then Henry wants Alma dead. So the way Gretchen's holding Alma, covering her, but then
like a human shield kind of situation.
Yeah, but then Koenig wants to get Gretchen and save Alma, so she has Alma in front of her so he wouldn't shoot. Yes. So they're like shielding each other from two opposite sides of this.
Right.
So I thought that was actually kind of cool how they kind of did that. Yeah. But other than that, I was like, okay, then they just left. But then Alma just uses her scream anyway. So why couldn't you just do that and run? Like you could have just done that from the beginning. Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe she didn't realize she could.
Yeah.
Until she saw the mom or.
And then, yeah. So then we didn't talk about it, but the stepmom, Beth, was like not feeling well, and she's just like not halfway, but most way through the movie she's like just gone, and then we never see the parents ever again.
Yeah, so we don't know really what happened with them, and Gretchen is fleeing the country with Alma, so I feel like that's a big issue.
Right. What's going to happen? So many questions at the end here.
But yeah, the stepmom was getting sick, and the one scientist said that it was that she felt distress with the original biological mother being close by. And I was like, I don't know why. I don't know. Like she is essentially, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Like she carried a cuckoo spawn, I don't know why she's intimidated by the cuckoo coming back. I don't know.
Does she even remember that? I don't think so.
I think so. Yeah, she didn't know why she felt sick, so
I
guess.
I don't know. Maybe once the goo goes inside, you're just like linked forever. I don't know. And there's really, I feel like, no good way to explain it outside of it's just nature, like why this happens. But like, they could just say whatever, and you kind of just have to go with it. Like, especially with the screaming and reliving the last couple seconds, like that makes no damn sense. You're kind of just like, what's going on? Because the first time it happens, I thought was wrong with the movie. I'm like, wait, we just saw that.
Right. I thought so too.
They're just like, this movie's just like, it just is what it is. That's just how it works.
Yeah. Very much so.
So, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So they're on the run, I guess.
I don't know. Gretchen had a hard time making it out on her own. I don't know why, like, a 9-year-old will help the situation. She got to, I guess. Also, but I don't feel like she really had to. She could have just taken her back to her parents and been like, you got to go. Like, because Koenig's dead, he killed all of his research staff too. Like, that was also another weird thing he did. When he realized that Gretchen was like out of his imprisonment, he starts like destroying all of the files that they have on these creatures, and he shoots the scientists that are trying to monitor them reuniting Alma and the hooded woman. So now that Koenig's gone, like, they killed the teenage one, like, are there others? Like, I think they're done. Aside from Alma, unless she, goes full cuckoo and starts doing this stuff. Like,
yeah, because I guess you don't know how many there are, because you only see the mother and then the teenage one, and then that's it. So, are there more?
Yeah, I don't know.
Who knows? But they're like, not my problem anymore because I'm leaving. Right. Bye.
And then also I have questions about Alma. Like, is Alma just going to inevitably be like the hooded woman, or because they didn't reunite, she's not going to get that training, I guess?
Because also the weird thing is, when you look at the hooded woman, like her eyes are different, but Alma's eyes are normal looking. And then hooded woman's hair is like missing. Is that going to happen to Alma?
I think so. I think that's what they implied, because Koenig was talking to Gretchen about the teenager. She had like a bald spot, and he put like a wig over her. So I think it's just like once they get to a certain age and they start to mature, maybe they become like a little bit more bird-like in that sense, and they lose hair. They
should get some feathers, is what they should do, to be more bird-like. That'd be fun. They could get wings, fly away.
Yeah, there you go.
That'd be cuckoo if I could fly away.
That'd be cuckoo.
I'm like a bird, I want to fly away.
I'm like a cuckoo, let me put my eggs in your nest. That's what they do. But I had a question too about the beginning scene. So in the beginning, we actually see the teenage cuckoo, who is just kind of like sitting in a room by herself, but we hear like what we assume to be parents arguing. And then she kind of just flees. And I was like, I want more explanation on what's going on there. Because
I don't even remember.
Koenig talks about like the mom getting away or something like that because her nestling fled. So I'm assuming because the teenager ran. So who was the hooded woman arguing with? Or like, could she even argue? Because she just screams.
She's just like, yeah. I didn't say you could do that. Just like,
or yeah, maybe since she's a cuckoo, like the teenager, she hears it as words.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they could communicate for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the last 10 minutes, we're like, I don't know.
Could be.
Maybe could be that. Yeah, there's a lot of open questions that they're just like, yeah, you don't need to know the answers to.
Yeah.
Like, where'd she even come from? No.
Yeah, that's true.
No one knows.
No.
Because she's the mother, so where did her parents, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
What does that mean? What happened?
Or maybe since he is a preservationist, like he just found the hooded woman and he was like, girl, I got you. I'm gonna help you. Like, maybe.
I don't know. This is so confusing.
I don't know. And like, I get the link though between like, I feel like it's like a Nazi Germany kind of link too, with Koenig trying to take women to basically experiment on them from this hotel. But I mean, they're calling it experiments, but these breeding projects now, because, you know, every woman that becomes a guest at the resort, I think he's trying to make the cuckoo inseminate. Like,
yeah.
So maybe if we did see a lot of women throw up, that there's a good chance that a lot of them are impregnated with now cuckoo babies.
The problem is you don't really ever see like how big this place is or how many people are staying there. You have no idea, because you only see like
the reception desk and the one cabin that they surveil.
Right, which I think is the only cabin that's used, probably, because it's called the Lover's Nest or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's probably the only cabin that is used for this kind of a thing. So one at a time. I think maybe is if you're let's just assume it, you go there, you're gonna get impregnated by this thing.
Yeah.
In that one cabin.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, Gretchen does offer Ed like a couples deal, because she does ask her if she's with somebody, because, you know, there's select deals on couples or something like that. So I was like, oh, that must be like he's like put them in the special room.
The special room with the slime. No.
Oh, the slime.
Are you ready to talk about our scary scenes and our overall scariness rating?
Yeah, let's do it.
So I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think most of this movie was scary. The one that was kind of creepy, I already mentioned, was when the mother was chasing Gretchen on the bike. That was unsettling. But for the most part, it was just weird. The goop was gross, but it wasn't scary.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I felt so removed from it. It didn't seem scary. Like, it just seemed so out of the realm of possibility that it's like, no, I'm not fearing the cuckoo. Like,
right. And like when the villain is like this woman who looks a little off, like her mouth is stretched open a little bit.
But not like
That's about as scary as we get in this movie, in my opinion. I didn't find it very scary. Just weird and off, to be honest.
Yeah, I can't really think of any other scenes where I was just like, wow, that's scary or weird or anything. But mostly I would just say I was creeped out by Koenig the whole time, but like not like a scary. Like,
not like a scary, but more like a scary.
Yeah.
Like, like we don't like that. We don't like him.
And I didn't like him from the start because I didn't know what his intentions were, and I feel like I didn't understand his intentions till the end either. Like, so I guess creepy. Yeah,
I don't know. Overall, none of the characters I connected with or felt safe around. Even Ed, I was like, nah, something's up. So in that sense, it's just like an overall unsettling vibe. Mm-hmm. But it's not scary. I don't think it's very scary. There's like some gore involved. She gets, oh my God, Gretchen gets beaten up pretty bad. But outside of, she's in this movie like the whole time in an arm sling.
Arm brace.
That sucks.
Yeah, just.
Why? Why do we do this to her?
She's got a rough time.
Yeah, so that sucks. But yeah, overall, I wouldn't call this a scary movie, which I guess leads me to, what did you have it rated?
Yeah, I put it at a 6 just because of the implication of the impregnating and stuff. That's creepy. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the mom has some, weird facial features that are a little spooky. She's the scariest on the bike when you first see her. So other than that, once you see her, you're like, oh.
No, it's just a lady.
Just a lady
that
having a detective era.
A detective era. Yeah, so my guess when I saw the trailer was a 9. I put it as a 5.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that makes
sense.
I'm
like, I was not scared really at all. Once we started figuring out what the hell was going on, I'm like, oh, this is more just interesting and weird than scary. And just gross. Right. Just generally gross.
What does this even build as? Is it technically billed as horror?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you have horror film. Okay, yeah. Mm.
Are we sure about that?
I would say more thriller, psychological kind of thing, because of the whole Gretchen having to try to continue to prove herself to the family. Mm-hmm. But honestly, that doesn't get resolved. We never see the parents again. Like,
right. And I mean, to be honest, I could see someone being afraid of the mother. Like, she is creepy. She's screechy. Her eyes are weird.
mm-hmm.
I could see you being afraid of it. But for me, it's really just a running, yelling lady. So it's just not super scary to me.
Right. Well, and then it seems like she needs the scream to hurt you in any way. So if you have headphones or anything, you're chill.
Cool. I'm good. You're good.
Yeah.
I don't hear you.
Mm-hmm. She would just be standing next to us, like, so angry, like.
So yeah, we're good.
We'd just be smug.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. If you enjoy the show and listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, giving us a 5-star rating is super helpful, and we'll always appreciate that. If you're watching the YouTube version, you can like and comment on the video and just let us know what you'd like us to cover.
You can find us on social media using 13 Degrees of Screams.
This has been 13 Degrees of Screams, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.